Hello everyone, I'm Dragons After Dark, and today I'll be reviewing the book Sledge vs. the Labyrinth by Nick Horvath. Listed primarily as suspense and action fiction, it appears that Sledge vs. the Labyrinth is Mr. Horvath's debut novel and the only book so far in his Sledge vs. series. The overview on Amazon reads, when his former lover, Kira, finds herself the target of a mysterious dark web assassin network, modern-day gladiator Einar Sledge Laukkanen embarks on a blood-spattered mission to uncover who lurks at its heart. But as he bludgeons his way down to its lowest depths, one thing becomes terrifyingly clear. No one escapes the labyrinth. And bludgeoning his way along is certainly Sledge's preferred modus operandi. It was rare that he came across a problem he didn't solve with violence in some way, and his enemies are given generous portions of brutality. The book was clearly written for a primarily male audience who loves intense and bloody action sequences with a tough-as-nails protagonist. Though you might want to avoid mentioning rusty nails to Sledge, given one of the sequences later in the book. I admit I took a chance with this purchase. For one, I didn't check the genre and I'm almost strictly a fantasy reader. Aside from Sledge's seemingly insurmountable odds and sheer dumb luck in surviving some of the situations, there was nary a fantasy element in sight. I also didn't look into any of the inspirations, comps, or Mr. Horvath's bio. I'd simply seen people on social media and Discord saying they enjoyed the book, so between that and the book cover, I decided to purchase it. First up, I have to give kudos to Mr. Horvath. It was structurally well written, and I was never pulled out of the story by weirdly structured sentences, errors, or any of the other usual complaints about indie books. The descriptions are vivid, the flow of the conversations between characters is decent, and Mr. Horvath certainly keeps the plot moving at a good pace. In fact, there were only a few parts that pulled me up short, and they are my only real quote-unquote complaints. One was a section of moral grandstanding by the character, Gao, who up to that point didn't appear to have any qualms about any of Sledge's or his own deadly actions, or any afterward. It might just be a story beat to meet the usual ones of the genre, but it came off as weirdly out of place. Second was Kira. She was a bit all over the map for her behavior. At first, she seems to know what kind of guy Sledge is, seeking him out for help with this assassin network. Sometime after that, she goes absolutely ballistic when she sees a video of something Sledge has done, but is fine with him pretty quick after that, even going so far as to be catty about him with another character, and being timid with him at the end. If she was a more prominent character, it probably would have given me a bit of whiplash, and of all the side characters, she feels the most side character-ish. Next was the appearance and interaction with a particular pop icon. Now, Mr. Horvath states in his bio that he was a pro basketball player for 12 years, so it's not beyond reason to think he's interacted with her on some level. My personal issue with her being in the book is it completely pulled me out of the story. As someone who doesn't keep up with mainstream celebrities, it made me wonder if her behavior in the book reflected that of real life. Minus what goes on later in the book, of course. I wondered if I should look her up to see if her portrayal was accurate, like her speech patterns. Am I expected to know that this is how she interacts with people? As I said, it just pulled me out of the story. From a more long-term perspective, using celebrities like her will date the book the same way references in movies and songs do the same. Things like this rarely land with future audiences, readers, and so on. For how little I know about her, she could have been replaced with a fictional pop icon with the same personality, and it wouldn't have made me trip over the story the way I did. As far as the story goes, there was so much from Sledge's past being thrown around that I checked at least twice to make sure I wasn't missing a previous book. I'm used to more incremental information about a character's past, especially when the book is going to be part of a series. It's good to show that your characters didn't just spawn out of the ether right as the story began, but the structure of the interactions, as I said, made me feel more like I'd skipped a book. Aside from those observations, the story definitely hits the same gritty, violent notes of 80s 80s action flicks, which is what Mr. Horvath's website states he was going for. Thinking about the book with this frame of reference, some of the more absurd moments are forgivable, like the big dumb fight first and figure it out later guy still managing to outsmart and at times outplan his enemies, having the right connection with money to keep him supplied in gear and medics, the insane action sequences and increasingly brutal enemies, or Sledge's ability to keep going no matter how injured he gets simply from activating his version of Beast Mode. It's action-packed, bloody, and a good romp for people looking to read a story with an 80s action movie vibe, but it just wasn't my kind of book, which is 100% okay. Not every book is meant for everyone, and I would definitely recommend this to someone who enjoys this kind of character and genre. Weighing my observations about the story and characters and using the 80s action flicks for a frame of reference, and based off of Amazon and Goodreads ratings, I'd give this a solid 4, since I can't do partial numbers. In reality, for me, it lands somewhere just south of a 4.5. I think it's a great start to the series in the way it sets the tone. While I won't be purchasing any future installments of the Sledge vs. series for myself, I will be passing the first book along to my husband, who will likely enjoy it more than me. That's going to be it for me. Thank you for listening, and I hope your next book is just what you're looking for. Bye!